Welcome back, guys, to another episode of CoinSpice. If you've been reading the news recently, then you're probably noticing there's a lot of government bodies and authorities that are now working towards getting crypto regulations in place around various countries in the world. And in this episode, I also want to compare governments that haven't really made their mind up yet when it comes to crypto and governments that are starting to make their mind up and know that they can benefit from crypto in the longer term. So let's get started with this first article that I want to talk about. And it's that the Indian tax authorities are sending probing questions to crypto owners in India. And I found this article on Bitcoin.com quite interesting. When you look at the sort of questions that the authorities are asking, what's the source of your income? What cryptocurrencies are you dealing with? Are you buying anything besides Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies? But they're also asking some really interesting questions like, what is your unique client ID and wallet? So it sounds like they're not really familiar with the term address. Maybe they're just fishing for people who just readily and easily give away how much cryptocurrencies they have. They're asking which exchanges the people are using and whether it's exchanges like Poloniex, Coinbase, Bittrex. I don't even know if you can buy cryptocurrencies using fiat currencies on Poloniex and Bittrex. And when you read these questions, you sort of get the idea that there's someone who's 60 or 70 writing down these questions who has absolutely no background in IT or finance or probably even accounting. Now, India isn't the only country where tax authorities have tried to calculate taxes on cryptocurrencies but have failed to do so. I have a friend who's based in Lithuania and he said exactly the same thing. The governments do know that they definitely want to tax people, it's just that they don't know how to. And with regards to these questions, I mean, they're even asking questions regarding what credit card transactions the person has made. And it sounds like they're getting really nosy. And this is slightly unfortunate because actually when it comes to government clarity on what's happening regarding cryptocurrency regulations in the country of India, there's actually no clarity at all. People are still waiting. I mean, forget people, even the government is still waiting for clarity regarding how it should tax the people. So this seems quite unfortunate, but anyway, let's shift gears onto a government or an economy that does seem to be appreciating the value of cryptocurrencies in the longer term to the economy, and that's the UK Financial Conduct Authority. So after some consultation with relevant people, the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK has now published this report, or this guidance specifically. It's not a regulation, it's a guidance. And in the guidance, they're mentioning how you can categorize cryptocurrencies. It's definitely some more clarity from the part of governments. It sounds like governments are actually starting to now care about what different types of cryptocurrencies there are and what sort of things you can do with cryptocurrencies. And if you look at the first type of cryptocurrency that they've mentioned, exchange tokens, then these are currencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, etc. And they're sort of value holding cryptocurrencies. They're cryptocurrencies which people are meant to send to one another in order to send some value to another person or an institution. So they've definitely categorized that as something separate, as a value holding cryptocurrency or a value transferring cryptocurrency. And if you look at the characteristics of security tokens, then they're very similar to shares or debt instruments. And this is probably why the FCA wanted to categorize these as a separate entity. They might have realized that a lot of these companies or these potential companies are proposing so many things to people, to potential investors. They're proposing so many things in their white paper that they are going to do in the future just to appreciate the value of their security tokens, their old coins or the shit coins or tropical tokens or whatever you call them. And not all of these companies are delivering on their promises. So this might be a reason why they've categorized this as something separate. And the last category they've given is utility tokens, and that's the tokens that are there in order to perform a certain benefit to the owner. So utility tokens seem to be those tokens that you can go on a platform and spend to get some service or a good in return. And they've categorized this as something separate from everything else. And they've also mentioned that the USDT, the US Tether or USDC and all the other stable coins can also be categorized as e-money, which would fall under this category of utility tokens. So it sounds like they've done a lot of homework into the different types of cryptocurrencies. And when you go through the document, they've also mentioned what you should do or what you shouldn't do in the case of you working on a potential security token or a utility token, and how the government is going to treat that going forward from a regulatory standpoint. So actually, when you go through the document, there's so much clarity in the document regarding what exactly you should be doing. They've also mentioned that if you're classified as a security token in the UK, you're probably not going to be classified as a security token elsewhere, especially the EU that they mentioned. And they've also mentioned that certain cryptocurrencies or tokens may fall under what they call the MiFID II. So definitely a lot more clarity, and this is something we really need to see a lot more of around the world from even other countries. I know for a fact that Japan has definitely been working on cryptocurrency regulation quite thoroughly, and they have classified Bitcoin as something that is accepted in the country. And it looks like the UK is wanting to do that. And after Brexit, of course, when the UK separates legally and regulatorily and judicially from the European Union, from the EU, then it looks like Britain wants to give more certainty to the crypto companies that have been established in the UK. There seem to be a lot of cryptocurrency companies or cryptocurrency exchanges that are based in the UK, or even banks like Revolut that offer cryptocurrency services in the UK. So definitely a very good piece of news, I would say, for even the rest of the world, because a lot of exchanges, if they're based in the UK but they operate around the world, then it's definitely good news to know that the country that they're operating in is not going to put everyone in jail. So anyway, that's just a bit of good news. And if we move forward, I just want to mention how much I hate these articles from Forbes. Bitcoin has no intrinsic value as the UK moves towards a crypto ban. Like, what the hell? Where do they get this information from? The UK is not moving towards a crypto ban, trust me. When you go through these guidance documents, they're very positive. They're actually very good. We expected these sort of things to come out of the government for quite a while, but we didn't get anything. And now suddenly we're getting things that are, I would say, very productive, that are very positive for the cryptocurrency industry. So let's be clear that more clarity and less uncertainty in the field of cryptocurrency regulation is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The UK is not moving towards a crypto ban unless something unexpected happens that this gentleman here knows of. And then when you look on the other end of the spectrum, you see articles like this, and that's that the UK financial regulator, the FCA, will not regulate Bitcoin and Ether. I would say this is a type of regulation. It's a positive type of regulation, but a regulation nonetheless. So regulations don't always have to be a ban. They don't always have to be negative. A regulation can also be positive and adopting for cryptocurrencies. And that's something we're seeing from the UK and something we need to see more often from other countries. Now, when it comes to the US, we haven't actually seen some official news or some official guidance regarding cryptocurrencies. We don't actually know what the US's long-term position is going to be with cryptocurrencies, and it might actually happen overnight, especially with a president like Donald Trump. We've seen tweets from him saying that he doesn't like cryptocurrencies. Maybe someone will come and change his mind about it. Maybe a friend will change his mind about it. So anyway, in this article, they asked a few people about why the US hasn't been a leader when it comes to crypto regulations. One person said that the US has indeed been a leader for the AML, the anti-money laundering laws that are in place seem to be sophisticated in his eyes. Someone else said that the US is just waiting and seeing what happens around a nascent field, he calls it, like an embryonic stage of cryptocurrency evolution. And his opinion is that cryptocurrencies are evolving very fast. So the US government probably just wants to see what's happening regarding crypto or what's happening around the rest of the world before it decides to do something. There seems to be a lot of opinions here and there, and especially with the advent of the Facebook Libra coin, we're getting more and more people in the Senate of the US starting to understand crypto or being forced to understand crypto. And if you've been watching these really interesting hearings in the Senate with David Marcus and the other guys from Facebook Libra coin project, then you might have already understood that the US is starting to understand cryptocurrencies. They want to understand it, and there still seems to be a divide even between same party members regarding what to do with crypto and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, if you were watching these hearings and one guy compared it to 9/11, and how can we leave out China? China recently published an article or a pamphlet. It shows the history of cryptocurrencies, what they're used for, how people use it, and they've used a lot of cartoons. You get the impression that the party of China wants people to be a bit more happy and optimistic about cryptocurrencies, I might be wrong, this might be all completely false, but it sounded pretty genuine, and it looks like even China will probably join the regulation game for cryptocurrencies soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button, and make sure you also come over to my channel and hit the subscribe button on my channel. I'll see you next time.